So let's kick things off with a pretty wild idea. What if the entire Warhammer 40K universe, all the grimdark, all the horror, all the endless brutal war, isn't really a story about battles at all? What if it's actually about a single, massive, galactic-scale psychological experiment that went completely, catastrophically wrong? That's the rabbit hole we're diving down today. And at the absolute heart of this whole experiment are the Primarchs, the Emperor's genetically engineered sons. Their homeworlds weren't just random planets, they were crucibles. They were these intense, focused classrooms. And the lessons they taught? Well, those lessons would end up shaping not just the suns, but the fate of the entire galaxy. And it all circles back to one central nagging question. Right, so that's the big one, isn't it? How on earth did a quest for perfect, rational, logical unity end up creating a galaxy of nothing but eternal, grinding war? The answer, and this might surprise you, isn't actually found in the 41st millennium. It's found in a really pivotal moment from our own ancient history. Okay, so it all kicks off with the Emperor's grand ambition, his whole project to enforce a single rational truth across the stars. It wasn't exactly a new idea. In fact, you could say it's a direct echo of the ancient Council of Nicaea. Take a close look at this, because the core strategy is the key to everything. Denial. Both the Council of Nicaea and the Emperor, they both tried to get unity by defining one single truth, and basically calling everything else heresy. The Emperor enforced his imperial truth, a galactic mandate of pure, cold rationalism, which completely, utterly denied a fundamental reality of his universe, the psychic, spiritual dimension known as the warp. The gamble was that if you just refuse to acknowledge something, if you just pretend it isn't there, it'll wither away and die. But history, both ours and theirs, tells us that is not what happens. Not at all. So what happens when you try to suppress a fundamental part of reality? When you try to push something into a closet and lock the door? It doesn't just disappear. Oh no, it festers. It grows in the dark. It gets twisted and powerful, and eventually it becomes a monster. And in the Emperor's case, the very shadows he tried to deny became the gods of his new dark age. See, this is where it gets really interesting. The Chaos Gods, they aren't really external evil forces. They're essential parts of the psyche that the Emperor's new rational order denied until they became pathological. Take Khorne. Its true healthy function is boundary. It's that basic necessary ability to say, this is me and that is not. But when you suppress that, when you deny it, it twists into its shadow form, pure, mindless rage and violence. Then you've got Tzeentch. Its true name is possibility. It's that spark of imagination, right? The hope for a different future, the engine behind every what if. But when that's denied a healthy outlet, when it's not grounded, it curdles into paranoia, into deception, and into this chaotic, pointless change for its own sake. Nurgle's true name is acceptance, and this is a really vital part of us, the part that lets go, that surrenders to the natural cycle of things. But its shadow, born from this culture of denial, mistakes that peace for apathy. It becomes stagnation, decay, and this really morbid embrace of death instead of life. And finally, of course, Slaanesh. Its true name is sensation, that simple, pure desire to experience the universe, to feel. But when that desire is shamed and denied and pushed into the dark, it becomes this desperate, compulsive hunt for more and more intensity at any cost. That's where you get excess, addiction, and obsession. And this slide right here, this shows you exactly how that failure played out in the story. The Thousand Sons, led by Magnus the Red, were all about the light of knowledge. But in the Emperor's rational empire, there was just no room to admit their shadow, the pride, the superiority complex, the arrogance that came with all their wisdom. They honestly believed their intelligence made them immune to corruption. And that one single point of denial, that was the crack that Tzeentch used to shatter them completely. All right, let's switch gears and look at the fallout from all this. Let's see how this one initial failure, this Nicaean gambit of denial, ended up trapping the entire galaxy in this repeating, horrifying cycle of trauma for 10,000 years. You can see a pattern here, right? Every single traitor Primarch's fall, it traces right back to a specific psychological wound from their homeworld that was never, ever allowed to heal. Fulgrim's deep-seated fear of imperfection drove him straight to the god of excess. Perturabo's bitterness at never, ever being appreciated just festered into pure destructive rage. You see, the Emperor's Grand Crusade had no room for therapy, no room for healing. It only had room for obedience. And so the unhealed shadows of his own sons grew into the very monsters he was trying to destroy. Okay, so if the Emperor's whole path of denial failed so spectacularly, were there other options? Were there other, more successful models for consciousness just hiding in plain sight? Models that didn't create these galaxy-consuming monsters? And believe it or not, the answer comes from the absolute last place you'd expect. And it really forces us to question what words like progress or civilization even mean. An ancient elder philosopher, of all people, is the one who points the way. So while humanity was basically tearing itself limb from limb, you had these two other races who found a way to make things work through completely different paths. On one hand, you have the orcs, who achieved this bizarre, accidental kind of enlightenment simply by finding pure joy in the present moment. And on the other, you have the Tau, who built this unified society based on collective hope and a shared purpose. Both of them are stable, successful models that completely avoided the human trap of creating monsters in their own shadows. I mean, just look at the orcs. They are functionally immune to the horrors of the galaxy because their consciousness just works differently. They don't have anxiety, they don't have despair, they have no existential dread for chaos to sink its hooks into. They are completely, totally present. Their collective belief literally shapes reality around them. They have, completely by accident, created one of the most resilient and psychologically healthy societies in the entire universe. It's incredible. So here's the big takeaway. This is the crucial point. The entire grimdark setting, it isn't just a nihilistic tragedy. It's actually a teaching manual. It's a detailed schematic showing us through catastrophic failure exactly what a consciousness needs to do to become whole. And the ultimate lesson of 40K is that denial and suppression are absolutely doomed to fail. The only way forward is integration. First, you have to recognize the function you've denied, your rage, your ambition, your pride. Then you have to accept its right to exist. Then you find its healthy expression, and you transform that shadow from a monster that controls you into a tool that you can actually use. This is the work the Emperor and his entire Imperium just refused to do. And that's why this universe matters so much, even beyond the tabletop. It is the ultimate cautionary tale, written on a galactic scale. It's a warning against that seductive, simple, but catastrophic path of denial. The Nicaean Gambit, whether it's in 325 AD or the 31st millennium, always creates more demons than it casts out. And that reframes everything, doesn't it? It suggests that by studying this grand cosmic failure, we can actually learn the principles of success. That by understanding how a consciousness fractures, we can learn how to make it whole again. And it leaves us with one final incredible thought. Is it possible that the darkest universe ever imagined is actually a roadmap for our brightest possible future?